Village of Hainesville regular board meeting will now come to order on Tuesday, February 28th, 2012 at 7:02 p.m. Everybody will please rise and join me. I'll lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Mayor Linda Soto.
Present.
Trustees Darnowski.
Here.
Kreis.
Here.
Duberstein. Here. Barrett. Daly.
Here.
And Washington.
Here.
Okay, we have a full board. At this time, I'd like to ask for a motion for approval of the agenda.
So moved. Second.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, roll call.
Trustees Darnowski.
Aye.
Kreis.
Aye.
Duberstein. Barrett.
Aye.
Daly.
Aye.
And Washington.
Aye.
Motion carried.
All right, at this time, we'll be taking public comments. Anybody wishing to address the board should have filled out a form in the back. I have one taker so far. David Kriz.
Yes, I, 567 North Triumph Court. My question is about the budget for Trustee Daly. I know at the last meeting you mentioned a couple of numbers, 400,000 difference that was being reduced to about $100,000 difference.
About 146.
Or 146, okay. And by those numbers, you mean the difference between our expenses, revenue and expenses for the coming budget year?
Correct, and it's revenue and requested expenses. Not all things have been approved yet, David.
Okay. And my question, well, a couple of questions. One is, where are most of the differences coming from?
The biggest difference is in our biggest fund, our Public Works Fund. There are a number of major projects on the board at this point requested that we don't have enough revenue for. However, we do have money in the bank that we could tap to complete that. The steps that we're taking right now are still reviewing the budgets, looking for anything we can trim or cut, and then we'll decide, and this should take place, should be on the agenda for approval on the first meeting in March. We'll have to decide if we do tap our reserve funds.
I realize that this is obviously a preliminary part of the budget process. How close to the previous year's budget are these requests? And if you know some idea, either by number or by percentage, and what about our revenues? Are they dropping? Are they stable? What's happening with that?
I'll be talking ballpark.
Okay.
Our revenue is expected to be this year, I believe, about 2.5 million, which is down a little bit from last year. Not much, maybe 75 to 100,000. Right? And I don't have my finance notes here.
Okay.
And our expenditures, well, since they haven't been approved yet.
Go ahead. I was going to say, do you know where the drop in revenue is from?
Some of it is expected revenue from the state.
Okay.
And some of it is expected revenue from property taxes.
Okay.
But and the thing we have to keep in mind about the property tax revenue is that we estimate what it is. We won't really know what it is until probably March.
Right. Until the review board's finished.
And the review board is finished and the county tells us.
Right. Okay. And then so on the expenditure side, now you were going to say something about the differences are mostly public works projects.
Mostly public works, some within the general fund. So we're looking at all requests from everyone, and we've gone, as I said, we've gone through trimming. We will more than likely present a deficit budget, meaning that our approved expenses exceed our approved or our revenues, but we do have money in the bank that we can use for these projects. We have close to $2 million which is about a year's expenditures in, it's not the actual profit firm, but what I refer to as a savings account.
Okay, is that same amount as the capital reserve, or is that a different amount?
We don't really have a capital reserve. I'm not quite certain what you're alluding to.
Can I just interject for one moment? I think part of what we'll be talking about briefly, I mentioned at the last meeting, we're currently collecting information. Item number 3 under our business tonight is a capital needs study and capital budgeting system, which is what we need to start doing. For example, one of the biggest projects that need to be done in this upcoming year is repainting the water tower. It is a big, expensive project, but it's something you know that you need to do every so many years. So what we would like to do is say, if we know we're going to have to repaint the water tower in 14 years, 10 years, whatever the magic number is, that we're going to put so much money away each year in the capital improvement fund for repainting the water tower.
Right.
And so we have money in the bank and savings that says it's for these things, but there's really no written hardline formula, if you will, that says, okay, we know in year 2016 we're going to buy a new truck, we're going to get rid of the other one.
We do a similar study that any homeowners association does, whether it's a condo or
Well, and a lot of bigger villages do this.
Okay.
Yeah, a lot of bigger, so that's where we're saying, we know we need to move to this, but in order to get from here to here,
Right.
you're not going to accomplish it in a couple months. So we probably will deficit spend. It'll be taking a small portion of our savings, but that savings technically is there to do these capital projects. You shouldn't be using your revenue to cover your capital improvements or replacements.
And most
Maintenance.
villages probably can't.
Yeah, and most can't. We're probably saying that, we can't.
So, and one last thing is that this fund that we're talking about, this 2 point whatever, what's been the balance? Has it been dropping in the last few years? Has it been stable? Has it been, where was it, in other words, when you took office, let's say?
I think it was at about 2.5, 2.6 million when we came into office. So it's been relatively stable. We took a fair amount out of it last year when we bought the Public Works building. It has been stable because the last 2 years we have presented balanced budgets.
Even with our big projects that we have.
Even with the big projects, yes.
The other thing, quite frankly, is while you want to have certainly money in reserve, there's a point where you don't want to exceed a certain amount. I know that sounds kind of crazy in these economic times, but you have to be cautious about not having too much, particularly when it's not earmarked for anything specific. There is risk involved in doing that in a village or in a town.
What would be the negative consequence of that?
Well,
Grants and government loans.
Oh, okay. Okay.
If you've got money,
Okay.
why do you need it?
yeah.
Okay.
Why are you asking for money when you have money in the bank and you're not using it?
Or residents saying, we don't understand why you have to increase something if you have all this money in the bank and it's not like it's earmarked for anything.
So
So my answer would be, well, we do own our water system and this is going to break and this is going to have to be replaced. Oh, really? Well, where is that written?
So one way to possibly avoid that would be to earmark
Yes.
it for something,
Yes.
which is why the reserve
Yeah.
study. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, any other public comments at this time? Okay, we will move on. Next item up is the omnibus vote agenda. Do we have a motion for approval?
So move.
Second.
Roll call?
Question?
Well, so you're removing an item from the agenda?
No, I just had a question about it.
Then you have to remove it. Well, when it's the omnibus, it has to be removed then.
To discuss it and
After,
vote on
yeah.
it.
Okay, let's do that then. Can we please,
Yeah.
this question about the arugula.
Wait.
Oh, go ahead.
Which item are you removing? Is it the minutes or the bills payable?
No, bills payable.
Okay.
Okay, so then we're going to Gary, remotion for, to approve the minutes
As amended.
as amended.
The omnibus is amended, removal of, with the removal of item 2.
Yes.
Okay. And a second?
Thank you.
Second.
Okay. Okay, so roll call?
Trustees Dernoski.
Aye.
Priest.
Aye.
Duberstein. Aye. Barrett.
Aye.
Daly.
Aye.
And Washington.
Aye.
Okay.
Okay. All right, next item then is trustee Barrett has a question about the bill payable for February.
Right, on the Rudolph Hainesville LLC, sales tax rebate for economic incentive, agreed 5/13/03. How long does that run? I don't recall, because I remember talking about it when I was on the board.
It was a 10-year, right?
Was it 10 years?
I think it's 10 years.
Okay, so this is the last year, so this is good
No,
possibility.
it's not even close to being last year.
2013.
Oh, 2003?
2013.
2013, so we got another year of this?
Just about another year.
It's a nice chunk of change I hate to give away, but
That's,
we needed it to get it started up.
yeah.
All right, that was my question, I didn't know how.
Things
long-
were different in 2003, right?
Yeah, we were still in the old village hall in 2003, weren't we?
Yes.
Yeah, there's-
Yeah. And the economy was way different too.
Yeah, we were in the basement, when the walls would rattle, when the train would go by.
For some reason, 2013 seemed like the right day.
Are you sure?
Because they haven't been there that long.
Yeah, can't be too old.
Well, when was it finished? I mean, it was here when I moved back, so I don't know when it was.
Depends on when you started paying.
Well, I can't-
It could be 10 years of
Can we
payment. It's
take,
not-
I mean,
If
if,
it's not 10
Well, I
years
could
from
have
the date,
Kelly,
it'll be okay.
I could have Kelly pull the,
just take a look at the original.
tomorrow
rates.
and email everybody the.
That would be something to see, because that'd be a nice piece of revenue for us that we could use for other things.
Oh, I agree.
I think you're gonna find out it's only 5 or 6 years. We got a ways to go on that one.
Okay. I wasn't sure, that's why I asked the question, so.
Motion to approve the bills.
So moved. Second.
Roll
Is
call?
it John?
Yes.
John and Kevin. You got a second and a third.
Yeah.
Okay, trustees Dernoski.
Aye.
Priest.
Aye.
Duberstein. Aye. Barrett.
Aye.
Daly.
Aye.
And Washington.
Aye.
Okay, moving on to mayor's announcements. Some of the information I just recapped, I've been working on researching along with Kelly, our treasurer. I know Jerry Gately has also been looking into this, and I encourage all the trustees to do any research that they have or input for getting this capital needs study and capital budgeting system project underway. As I stated at the last meeting, I mean, fortunately, we have already our street resurfacing 5-year study done with Manhart, so that's a step in the right direction. I found some things from other villages, so I've been calling some of our neighbor communities. Fortunately, their financial people are always very willing to share their methods or systems. So we'll be talking about that a little bit more under business. I just wanted to also throw out that we finally got new benches purchased for out front, and I don't know if anybody's noticed that, but they're good quality commercial benches, so they should not blow away and hold up to the elements for quite some time, and they're very comfortable. I'm looking forward to the nice weather. You might find me out there. Jerry was suggesting that maybe we could have a lunch with the mayor event or coffee with the mayor event out on the bench, so I might do that one day.
Or if it's a sunny day, it might be napping with the mayor.
Oh, I don't know. This is a family channel. Okay, with that, let's move on to any standing committee announcements.
Can I just put my 2 cents in regarding what you were talking about, the way other villages handle their capital improvements. I learned today that Grace Lake trustees will be meeting Saturday morning, the 10th of March. And at the beginning of the meeting, they'll be talking about